This mentorship program has been an interesting and a learning experience for me.
Epic.
Splendid.
Perfect.
Incredible.
Hectic. It's a very good learning experience.
My name is Asimwe Deborah Kawe. I am a playwright. I am the artistic director of the Kampala International Theatre Festival. And I have started a mentorship program, which is a program that is affiliated to the Kampala International Theatre Festival.
Let's talk about suspension of disbelief, because that's the actual technique that deals with it.
Okay, all right then.
That the audience, they will take anything so long as you're convincing. That's it. So the cattle may or may not be there, but the audience's mind, and I always tell people before a play begins, people who, when I work with them when they play, I say, please don't shake, don't panic. These people have come here in goodwill. They come generously. Half the time, they come generously. You have to let them down so badly for them to turn against you. Often. Now, but we know we are artists. Our goal is not to let down that audience.
The kind of mentorship program that we are running is how to work with young people. And when I say young people, I mean the ages between 14 and 24. That is high school and university students who are interested in writing creatively, but specifically in writing for performances.
Like, there's so many things I haven't been considering, especially with the characters. Like he has said,
I don't have much to say. All I have to say is that I've learned how to write a story, actually.
I think Angie has done a great job to make me see things I didn't see in my story.
First of all, I want to thank everyone for being amazing. You know, everyone makes you feel like... I talk to everyone, and they just make you feel comfortable.
Okay, we haven't gone into analyzing the play I had written, but even before I go there, I have already seen where I failed.
Yesterday was too much for me. I must accept that. And I reached a point and I couldn't think, I couldn't sleep, yet I was tired.
And I hope by the end of this mentorship program, I'm seeing that I will have a better story.
Personally, before writing a story was writing a piece of a sheet and writing it, ending it.
So for the past 10 days, we have been in residency with 10 young people and 4 mentors, specifically writing for stage. That was our focus for this mentorship program.
There are two things. Just from the scripts I've been reading, I thought maybe I would say something about our ordinary lives and the fact that the things that happen to us on an ordinary day, told by a writer, are extraordinary. Mm-hmm. And that's what I wanted to talk about. And I said sometimes we feel the pressure because we're watching Game of Thrones, we are hearing about Shakespeare, we are going to watch The Fast and the Furious, and we think...
And you are hearing about Deborah Simwe, and
right. Yes.
BBC.
Right. And then you think, if I told them this little thing that happened to me, it would not be a story. And therefore I have to wrangle something extraordinary in order to get into the place that I want to be. And what I am saying is that our ordinary, you and me, is extraordinary.
So this program was born out of the festival that I ran, which I mentioned earlier on, Kampala International Theatre Festival. So for the past 3 years, I have been observing that our audiences are not necessarily characterized by young people. And again, I'm talking about high school and university students. And I was asking myself why. And I wondered whether maybe it's because that either we are not programming them into the festival, and then I asked myself, but why is it that we don't receive submissions from these young people? And I said, maybe it's because there are actually no spaces for them to write. And so one of the things that my team and I talked about was, how about we create space where young people can be separated from their usual lives during holidays and just be in residence with mentors to write. I can say that the aim is to create the next generation of amazing Ugandan writers.
In practical terms, nothing like this has happened for a long time. Previous ones have mainly been conducted by non-Ugandans, or in between, it would be a non-Ugandan and a Ugandan. I think this is the first of its kind where it was from onset, that I know of. There might be others. Onset is just like purely a set of Ugandan artists getting together with whatever degrees of negotiation and saying, okay, you have this, you know, you do this, you do that, you do that. Can we get together and work with a group of young people who are at different stages of development?
Where do you get your inspiration from?
In a number of times, I just get it in me, and I'm like, I feel like writing.
Okay.
Wherever I am, I either do it on phone, or when I have a book, I write something small down. So when I get in a place that is comfortable, I sit down and write.
You have the script? No. What have you been writing? Have you ever written?
Yes, but one story.
One story. It is the only one you have ever written.
I had in my mentees are third year film and performing arts students, and so that brings a certain quality to our sessions because they've already learned so much. So it's really more about developing them individually as writers rather than theory of becoming a playwright or theory of becoming a theater maker. And then I also had a mentee who had never written anything before that she shared with other people. So it was an interesting class.
Every morning we had sessions where we sat down to compare notes and activity, just to check in with balances. And then in between there were interchanges, so you were not just completely stuck with the group you had. There was room for you to interact with the other people in other groups.
A lot of it was about talking about plays, reading. They did a lot of reading. I think altogether they've read about 4 plays each. And about just receiving feedback on their work. So it was an organic process, a little bit of theory, but most of the time they were working, they were rewriting, or they were reading, or they were watching a play performance. And that was really the structure of our class.
I find this program unique because at school, you find that they talk about something and they just leave it hanging.
The classes are quite a little different from the way we study at school. At school, whereas you have this, teacher giving in most of the time. This is kind of a conversation between you and the mentor. You give them what you think. They think about it also, as they also tell you what you think. So that's a little, good.
What was amazing about it is that they didn't just tell me, well, this is a process, write a synopsis, do this, do this. It was like, it was through different works. They give you someone's work, they tell you how this person did it. Then they tell you can do this. That's how we learned.
I wrote my first play and I read it aloud because it was my first time to write a play. So I came with a story that I was told to transform into a play. And after transforming it into a play, when I read it in my group, my mentor, who is Asimwe, she gave a very beautiful comment. She said I can make a good playwright because she could see the skills and abilities in me. So that was so memorable for me.
First of all, I was really excited to meet these people that have just been, whose work I've just been reading. It was just like so memorable. You look like we found them and I was like, oh my God, this is Deborah Simwe. Oh, this is Angela Emron.
You know, you read about Deborah, you read her play, Deborah Simwe, you read Emron's play, and yeah, you really don't have any hope of meeting them. So comes this workshop, and these people are like, you're given that chance to be a little bit personal with them. Get it? So to me, that is something I can't even explain.
When I was growing up, like I said, I'm a playwright, but when I was growing up, and really wanting to write, I don't remember ever finding a local space and local mentors that I could work with in an intensive way like we've been doing. So I thought it would be great, my team and I thought that it would be great to create such a space for people who are interested in developing the art of playwriting.
It's definitely a gift, this mentoring program for theater making in Uganda, for development of playwrights in Uganda. It's a gift because for most of us, we came to playwriting out of love, out of accident, some of us, but we've had to go a long way before we got into spaces like this, where we were with fellow writers who are struggling with the same things. We were with mentors who have been along the road that we are traveling. It took us a while to get into spaces like that. And so for them to have a space like this in the formative years of their work as playwrights, I think it's a fantastic gift.
Usually me, when I'm writing, I just know maybe how the story is going to end, or maybe what I want to put in the story, and I just write everything happens later. But as we are working with Angie, yesterday she told us to write a synopsis, and then she told us we're going to start building, like we're going to look at the stage direction and stuff. And I saw it was amazing. When I wrote down the synopsis, I was like, if you're writing a story and you're looking at the flow of the thing, how it is going to flow out, I think the story is just going to be much better than when you're just writing. Even the characters lack purpose.
The most challenging thing was reading and writing. First of all, me with reading, I hated reading novels, even up to now. But now at least I have that love for reading novels. Then in writing, I hate writing long things, like long sentences and stuff. So when they told me I was coming to write stories, at first I didn't want us giving excuses that I have holiday work to do. So now it has, that was my challenge.
The challenges for me is that we don't get enough different styles of plays being performed in Uganda. Outside of, for instance, the Kampala International Theatre Festival, but on a normal day, you don't get different types of plays being performed. So there's a lot of realism, there's a lot of naturalism. You don't get to see avant-garde theatre, you don't get to see theatre from different places that maybe we do not know. And so I felt that it was a challenge for my students, my mentees especially, just being able to understand that theatre can be made in different ways.
Some of the parents tend to think that passing exams, for the students to be focused on their assignments during holidays is the most important thing. And so we had a situation where students had to drop out because their parents said no to them. And I thought that was very painful because I could tell that, some of these young people were very interested in this program.
The other challenge, and it's general, are they called millennials? The present day young person, they just have no patience with stage plays. They're just thinking screen. They want to write the screenplay. So you say plot something, and you see they plotting a screenplay, and so they persuading them to recognize that there is actually a productive relationship between stage and film, and that is as old as time, and that embracing the idea of writing for stage is not necessarily negating the opportunity to work in film. Was a bit of a challenge.
I would think for me, because I was not one of the mentors, but for me, one of the challenges I thought I noticed would probably be the different age ranges, the different ranges of qualification in terms of experience as in writing or desire to write or anything like that. I guess for us it's going to be a learning process to know how to batch them the next time, because at the end of the day, yes, we do want the beginners, we want the intermediate people, we want the people that really know what they're doing, but to batch them so that they can actually benefit even better from the groups that they are batched in. So for me, it wasn't necessarily a challenge per se, because at the end of the day, then they ended up still learning from each other. Even those who assumed they were extra good still learned from those who are still learning. So at the end of the day, I think it was very successful.
So there's something you mentioned about being observant and being in a taxi and seeing things and then going ahead to write about them. Okay? Okay, so how would you term that? How would you term that specific inspiration?
I think anytime you have an opportunity to share with others the things that you've learned in your own journey as a writer, you hope that they pick one or two things that enable them to continue on their journey. And so I guess it's a hope that I've made them better writers by sharing my own journey as a writer.
This mentorship program has made me a better writer in a sense that it has made me start having different point of view of issues, about how I approach issues. Especially, there are certain things as a writer I didn't care about thinking they would advance my stories. For example, issues of character development, issues of knowing a lot about your character. Originally, I think I was either poorly introduced or maybe grasped it poorly that I should concentrate on developing my protagonist. But I've realized that in order to develop my protagonist, then the rest of the characters also have to be developed. And development of one character, of course, has to advance the development of another. And then think of how to develop each character in line with my story, the story I'm telling. So a lot, I have, this mentorship has made me a better writer in that perspective.
I'm always excited to be in a room full of writers I haven't met before, so that met my expectations. And I have discovered people who write in an interesting way, different, my mentees, other mentees that were not in my group, that are interesting writers to watch. So that has been, I think, one of the achievements of this program. And also hearing the participants read their work aloud, hearing them giving feedback to each other. It was a really rich experience for me.
The mentorship program has made me a better writer in a number of ways. For instance,
how I'm supposed to prepare before I even start to write. Like knowing the story I want to tell, why I'm telling that story, is it worth telling? Knowing my characters before writing, basically the preparation before someone sits down and write dialogue.
This mentorship program has really helped me to create characters, know my characters that I've created. My characters talk to me. They give me their story, their background stories, and I get to understand them. I've really learned a lot from this mentorship program.
What that means is that the mentees had an opportunity to approach any of us anytime and ask whatever questions they wanted to ask as far as their writing is concerned. And also, we allowed them to make mistakes. Sometimes in school settings, there's this fear of, I don't want to fail. But in this kind of setting, there's room for failure. There's room for these mentees to pick themselves up and rethink what they did not do well and then redo it. So I would say that 3 things: rigorous work, they were writing all the time. 2, a lot of time with mentors. And 3, the liberty for them to fail and then rethink what they are working on.
Overall, I think it was very successful. I was very proud of the young people because they put in as much work as the mentors did. And there was not any single time that I was worried about what was going to happen because everybody put in the best that they could do. At the end of the day, I think we achieved exactly what we set out to do.
I have learned how to arrange my story before I start writing it. I know the steps to plot it out, and I know what to consider when I'm writing a story. Unlike before I came, I didn't know how to do that. I would just write something the way it happened without putting some things in consideration. So yeah, being here and learning that has made me a better writer than I was before.
I think Angie has done a great job to make me see things I didn't see in my story. Before we came, Dr. Mlekwa had told me that your story has 2 things. Someone is confused whether to follow one, which one to follow actually. So Angie didn't tell me that drop one of the ideas or something like that, but she kept on asking me questions. Like I wanted to, you write and there is this maybe one character, you think this person should be just nice, they should not even have any flaws. Like you sympathize with them, you like them, you want them to be this good person. But then she didn't directly tell me that maybe make that person a little bit bad, but she was like, at least be realistic.
We also hoped that by the end of the program, each of the students will have worked on something. Those who came in with plays, we hoped that they would have had new drafts. Those who came with nothing, we hoped that they would have come up with a story or something, that they have worked on. And I've seen these mentees work from scratch. Yesterday, we had a presentation where each one of them presented something that they have worked on for the last 10 days, and each one of them had something that they had worked on, had something to present, and each one of them was able to present. That was also something that we thought would be good, but we were not sure whether it was achievable. But we saw each one of them able to present before all of us, talk about the work they have done here, read from their work, and I thought that was really great.
As per now, since I'm working on something, I would prefer starting to write and develop it at development level, because I feel I'm still at an initial stage. Yes, I'm still developing the writing.
I find it remarkable that a 16-year-old boy could write a script and that you would discuss with him what is going on and ask him questions. And when he comes with the next script, he's dealt with the issues. So we kept saying, how old are you again? How old are you?
In these kinds of mentorship programs, one of the things we have been doing is to expose these young people to different ways of doing theater. And the other thing is to begin to invite them to come to the festival, the annual festival that I was talking about, Kampala International Theatre Festival. And so that's where they will be exposed to different ways of doing theater. And it's up to them to choose how they want to do theater. But the whole point is that they will invest their time, their talent, their expertise in future to do, to bring back audiences into theater and to do theater professionally. Because I think one of the things that we've been talking about as the entire group is to share our experiences, because this is what I do full time. I earn money by doing theater and other things and teaching. But whatever I'm doing is geared towards performance, towards the arts, towards theater. And that is one way of encouraging them that this is actually a career option, okay? And the hope is that there will be a generation of writers who are doing good writing, who are doing good theater, who are doing good art, but are also able to earn from it. And so that is the hope. Whether we will achieve it, that is yet to be determined.
I would consider writing to be a very serious job. Reason, because I have witnessed people who have earned from it, and they've not earned like little money. They've actually benefited much from it, not only with money, but developing their skills, traveling, meeting new people and learning from them and all that. So yes, I am sure writing can be a serious thing to do.
Of course, we are in a what should I say? We are in a field of collective work, whereby one person leads to another, leading to another, leading to another. So itself is a job, just like we have a branch in a company whereby we have the bottling, we have the production, we have those people, the marketing. So it's one job in the art that I find a complete job.
I really like the fact that it helped me. It got me to understand that writing is not some mediocre kind of business. It made me understand that writing is something that you should be taken as something like a career, a real career that someone has to do to achieve something out of it.
I would want to see a situation where we are creating programs that can encourage young people who want to be in the arts, who want to choose it as a career option, to create programs that can mentor them, to create programs outside of the school systems that can help these young people to formulate their thoughts and see where they want to go. The other thing that I would love to talk about is I think we need to create a critical mass and pressure our leaders to make performing arts something that can be viewed as a career option for young people. So to interest parents in allowing their children to practice this. It might, at the end of the day, their children may choose to do something different, but at least they would have gotten an opportunity to be introduced to this. We did this as a pilot project to see how it would function, and I think it went really well. Actually, it's got to be one of the successful mentorship programs that I have run. So my hope is that I can do this next year. We're going to, sit again as mentors, debrief, see what we could change, see what we can maintain. And then, of course, the biggest challenge, which is always the thing all artists talk about, is are we going to have the financial ability to continue doing this? My hope is that we should be able to. So hopefully there'll be enough funding to do this again.